What's up, everybody? It is Jordan here from Wednesday Night Warhammer, and it's going to be a little bit of a shorter video. We're just highlighting the Hive Guard. And everybody, aren't Hive Guard just incredible? Aren't they the best unit around? I don't know. A lot of people have been playing Hive Guard and Subterranean Assault, including me, actually. And I've been quite enjoying the unit after a long time of me poo-pooing the datasheet and the weapons that the Hive Guard have access to. In this very brief video, I'm going to be talking about why they're kind of good right now, and maybe convince you to try them out on the tabletop. Okay, so specifically in Subterranean Assault, they're good. I'm highly considering almost every single Subterranean Assault list that I bring to the table right now. I'm probably going to bring a 6-man squad of Hive Guard, the shot cannons. It's because of a couple of different things. The first up is reroll ones all the time. The detachment has reroll ones all the time. It's very nice that Games Workshop just gave us that added rule onto an already kind of busted rule, so that our Hive Guard are that much more efficient. They're going to hit on 3s no matter the gun that you take. You're only taking the shot cannon, but they're going to hit on 3s, and then rerolling 1s is going to allow for just a little bit more efficiency. Specifically, the stratagem within Subterranean Assault that allows for them to be good is Inflating Emergence. That's stratagem where a unit comes out from reserves until the end of your fight phase, I believe is the wording. They get sustained hits and ignores cover. So the Hive Guard shot cannon guns are going to have sustained hits, reroll 1s, and they're going to ignore cover. And the ignore cover part is very, very important because of how low the shot cannon's AP is. In addition, normally Hive Guard are very, very slow. They move 6 inches, they're on 50mm bases, and it is tough to get them around the table. However, in Subterranean Assault, their movement is infinite, honestly. You just pick them up, CP, put them in reserves, and then bring them back in wherever you want them alongside a Ravener unit, or alongside a Trigon, or just on the table edge. You can do that as well. And then Inflating Emergence, boom, you got your sustained hits, and you got a dead, I don't know, Predator, Rhino, Canis Rex. Speaking of, the last part is Anti-Vehicle 2-up. Doesn't matter what these guys' strength is, as long as, I don't know, they're shooting at a car or a tank or something. So the shot cannon, that's the weapon you're taking. The Impaler cannon is a weapon that Hive Guard were stapled onto throughout their duration of 9th edition, and we're just never going to see that weapon again. So you're going to use the shot cannon. That's just the weapon that you're using with Hive Guard. That's kind of what they're made for right now. But let's dive into the profile. It's 2 attacks apiece, so you'll get 12 using the entire squad. Hitting on 3s, strength 7, which is kind of a weird breaking point. I kind of wish it was strength 8, but it's okay. We forgive the shot cannon. It's AP 1, which I'm still not a huge fan of, but it's flat 3 damage. But 3 damage is kind of crazy, honestly. Like, this entire profile is very weird. Strength 7, AP 1, 3 damage. I guess the fluff and the lore behind it is it's shooting a barb with a bunch of electricity that like shocks a vehicle or messes with its like computer systems or something. I don't know. Anyways, it's super low AP, anti-vehicle 2-up. So it's going to wound your Canis Rex on a 2. It's going to wound your Land Raider on a 2. Has very high damage, 3 damage for each of these shots. Strength 7 is a weird breaking point. If it was strength 8, I would love that. But strength 7 is still a pretty high strength considered. So why are they good now? I've talked down about shot cannons and Hive Guard for a really long time. And I will admit, I am happy to admit when I'm wrong. I will admit when I'm wrong. I think the shot cannons are pretty strong right now. But why? Why are we taking Hive Guard right now? Why are we including shot cannons in our list? It's because Knights are running wild. Absolutely wild. And with Hive Guard and ignoring cover, there's a very interesting interaction with Knights. A lot of times they will use a CP to rotate Ion Shields and take their 5-up ranged invulnerable save to a 4-up invulnerable save. Well, the Hive Guard are just going to put you at that 4-up with ignores cover, and it doesn't matter, so don't spend your CP. I'm still going to wound you on 2s. You're still going to have a 4-up save. That's kind of why. That's the combo that's been happening. I don't think they one-tap Canis, but they do chip away at Canis or any other relatively similar big knight chassis. They definitely put some hurt into armigers. And there's a fun interaction where you can shoot at an armiger if you're on an objective. And the armiger moves at you at all, then the Hive Guard get to Overwatch. It's something that I haven't mentioned yet in this video. But if you're on an objective, they get to Overwatch on 4s. So you'll be able to shoot a vehicle or something, do quite a bit of damage, and then say, if you move at all, I'm going to do it again. And that is very bad for them. Subterranean Assault, we talked about this a little bit before, gives them the mobility they needed. It's a detachment that highlights every single unit in the Tyranid Codex, but just allowing that unit to do its thing better, and it does that by everybody's rerolling ones, and you can get some really, really funky angles on some ranged weapons that normally would not be able to. It's very easy reliability. The 1 CP stratagem to ignore cover, really pump their damage up to 11 with sustained hits. It's nice. It's a good combo. And I kind of, hinted at it before, but -1 AP puts a lot of the meta on its invulnerable save, especially if they're rotating ions. Okay, I think AP2 would actually be the sweet spot to really put like even the plague drones from a 3 up to a 5 up on their demon save. But AP1 is still kind of good when you're thinking about these larger vehicles and especially knights. We've talked about inflating emergence quite a bit, but there's a couple other easy combos you can think about with Hive Guard. Is one, you just rapid ingress them onto an objective and kind of point at a vehicle that, maybe it's a Warglaive that's about to charge or something, and just say, hey, if you move at all, I'm going to Overwatch on 4s. I'm going to get you, and you're going to have a hard time. That's a pretty good combo. I like rapid ingress, just putting them somewhere. You would have to get them out of the tunnel, of course, in order to do this really on an objective, because normally they have to come from the edge of the board. So make sure you're doing that, of course. But of course, emerging inflate or whatever it is coming from the serves, sustain hits and ignore cover, just really kind of puts this unit into a damage dealing area. And then just being able to threaten angles by having them onto an objectives and just having a tough Overwatch. Overwatching on 4s means basically they're shooting, and then the added bonus of rerolling 1s definitely helps that. So like their Overwatch is almost as good, almost as accurate as if they were firing normally in any other detachment. Now, some people might be thinking, well, Jordan, why don't you just take zoanthropes? You've talked a lot about zoanthropes, and you really like zoanthropes and Subterranean Assault. The more games that I play with Subterranean Assault, sometimes the less I like zoanthropes. It's a couple of things, and we'll talk about them here in this slide. First up, the Hive Guard are going to have 12 shots that are anti-vehicle versus the zoanthropes 6 shots. Yes, the damage output and the damage potential of the zoanthropes is way higher because it's d6 plus 1 as opposed to flat 3 damage. However, less number of dice a lot of times is just worse than more number of dice. You could re-roll 1s into 1s, and you can wound on 3s but roll a couple of 1s and 2s. Hive Guard having double the number of shots and wounding on 2s all the time into vehicles is just kind of good. Next point is Hive Guard are 180 points, and that's all they need. They just need 180 points. They don't need a character to support them. They don't need anything else. There's 180 points. Zoanthropes are 305 points. That means, of course, 200 points for the Zoanthrope squad and then 105 points for the Neurotyrant to attach them. You always have to have that as well, or else their efficiency goes way, way down. And then like flat damage 3 when the Hive Guard are activating into an infantry or I guess that's it. Into infantry is the only difference, or maybe like a mounted or a higher toughness weird model. It's always flat damage 3, where sometimes the zoanthropes activating into like an infantry or an elite infantry model, that's going to be that D3 damage, which can be a little annoying, honestly, because you can just roll a bunch of 1s and then kill nothing off the zoanthropes. And last, this is kind of like a conceptual, like a philosophical way of thinking about the game is, who wants to shoot at the Hive Guard? They're T7. They have a 3-up save. They're 4 wounds apiece. It takes a lot to kill a squad of Hive Guard. In my opinion, it does not take a lot at all to kill a squad of zoanthropes. Zoanthropes just get melted and deleted easy peasy. However, Hive Guard, they can stick around. Now, They're cool in Subterranean Assault. Are they good anywhere else? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't really think that they're good or really worth being played in any other detachment. People in the comments, please let me know if I am wrong. Next up, when the Knight meta is gone, they're probably gone as well. So there could be a thing where, like, once the Knights are not really a thing, once a whole bunch of vehicles are not being seen in the meta, or if it shifts at all, then maybe Hive Guard just go back on the shelf. They're guarding your shelf as opposed to a heroic battlefield or whatever. So who knows? I certainly would not be telling you to go out right now to your local game store and spend $160 on a 6-man squad of Hive Guard. If you have Hive Guard, try them out. If you have something that you can proxy as Hive Guard, try them out. See if you like them. If you're playing on TTS, absolutely try that out. However, I would not spend $160 on a unit that might be irrelevant once the big bad boogeyman of the meta gets nerfed into the ground. Fingers crossed that happens soon. All right, everybody, that's it for today's video. Just a very short kind of recap and kind of my thoughts on where Hive Guard are right now. Have you tried Hive Guard? Do you like them? Do you like zoanthropes better than Hive Guard? Can you find Hive Guard on secondhandgeek.com? Maybe. I don't know. Check out our sponsorship affiliate link down below. But most importantly, have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm playing some Vanguard Onslaught on stream against my buddy Kyle with Tau. Check it out. It'll be a good time. Bye.